And now back to Lifeline with Craig Roberts.
Money's tight, we know that, and certainly Washington, D.C. is doing what it can to try and close a bit of the gap, but we're gonna see some tough times here. Everything from local cities, municipalities to counties, states, all going through challenging economic times. And sadly, in a state like California, well, when times get tough, they raise taxes. Let's get some insights into what seems to be nothing more than a bit of a sham window dressing bill in the form of SB 74. Your members of the California State Legislature not very hard at work, at least some of them. Joining me now with some insights as to this dog and pony show is California State Senator Brian Dahle, who represents the 1st Senate District. And Senator, thank you so much for taking some time to be with us today.
Absolutely. How are you, Craig?
I'm good. Although I got to tell you, quite candidly, as a lifelong resident and taxpayer in this state, I'm a little bit frustrated. I mean, I recognize, I get it. Times are tough for all of us. We're all trying to kind of figure out what the post-COVID-19 economy is going to look like for all of us. And certainly, we could all use a little help these days. But gee whiz, taking a look at what is inside of this Senate Bill 74, if I didn't know better, if it wasn't coming from California, I'd think this was an item off of the onion. But here it is, putting together a budget deficit that is projected to be up toward $54 billion, and they're continuing, your colleagues are on the Democrat side, to spend money in some unbelievable arenas.
Well, let me just share with you first, this is a smoke and mirrors budget. At the end of the day, we have to do, constitutionally, they have to pass a budget by the 15th, and, we met the constitutional deadline, but $54 billion is not the right number. Let me share with you that in January, the governor put out a budget that was $14 billion more than what we had last year. So it's really not, and that's calculated in to this year's May revise. So it'd be like me telling you, hey, I'm going to give you a $5,000 raise in January, but then in March, I actually gave you $1,000 raise, and then you said that you got a $4,000 cut. Well, really, you got a $1,000 raise. So let's start comparing apples to apples. That's number one. That this $54 billion isn't the real number. We don't know what that number is, and we're going to get some money from the federal government coming back under the state of emergency. I've asked. I'm on the budget committee. I've asked several times what that number is. Nobody can tell you. But here's the ironic thing: even though we don't have good numbers, the legislature, which this budget was made up by 4 or 5 people. It wasn't the whole membership of the legislature. We had very little input. We got to ask some questions, but we never got answers. $9 billion over the next 3 years, $4.4 billion in new taxes. Now, if you recall during the last recession, which was 2008 and into 2012, we passed the people of the state taxed themselves by Proposition 30. Which was supposed to help education. And then it was ratified 2 years later by Proposition 55, which gave us the rainy day fund. Thank God we have that. It was mandatory that we put a percentage of our budget into the rainy day fund, which we have available to us. So the deadline for taxes, because of COVID, got extended. So we really don't know what the income is going to come in for California until the 15th of this month, I believe. July 15th is the time that we have to pay our taxes, because many people didn't pay their taxes in April like we normally do. So, but at the same time, this budget has 70 positions for the high-speed rail at $191,000 per position, which is a boondoggle. We should be taking that money and putting it towards schools and roads and the things that actually make this economy work, and the things that we actually need, instead of a train that goes to nowhere.
Well, not only that, but the notion, and I understand part of the proposed budget also includes shelling out another $5 million to buy a state park. And while I'm thrilled that California leads the example, in preservation of land and making access to nature here to California residents and visitors. It's a wonderful thing, but really and truly, even at a price tag of $5 million, and when you talk about billions worth, $5 million sounds like chump change, Senator. But at the end of the day, I just have to wonder whether or not the future fiscal health of California can be entrusted into the California state legislature and this governor, given the propensity toward just spending like there's no tomorrow, and not recognizing the fact that we've got some tough times here. We're going to be in tough times for no doubt a good stretch, and looking into the future, trying to close budget gaps by increasing taxes just seems to be a bridge too far.
Well, I will 100% agree with you. I am one of the few legislators who actually does a payroll every 2 weeks. We have a business. We're farmers, my wife and I, and we run a business, and we have employees. There's not very many in the legislature that could say they do that. And I will share with you that this budget also has $596 million to expand health care to illegal immigrants, $65 million to expand earned income tax credit to illegal immigrants, $10 million for business grants for illegal immigrants. Look, I'm in business. COVID has affected all kinds of businesses in California. We know unemployment is very high. Why don't we do something for the businesses of California that have been here for decades and generations, quite frankly, doing a good job? You cannot have a public servant, a cop, a firefighter, in-home healthcare, anything until a private business and the people who work for those private businesses pay a tax first. Those are the people we should be caring about. COVID has definitely hurt them, no doubt, and that's where our priority should be. We should not be adding more taxes to them. They've already put a rainy day fund in place, and at the end of the day, those are the people that are going to dig us out of it. We need to streamline regulations and give them some security so that they can get back on their feet, hire their people, and get this economy going in the right direction. There's plenty of opportunities in California. This is a great state. It's very diverse. We have agriculture. We have the tech industry. We have pictures. We have infrastructure like no other state. This is the greatest place in the world to live. We just have some people that don't know how to operate it very well. We need to get them back on track. And quite frankly, we need to vote them out. We need to put people in office that know how to run a business. And this place will be prosperous. And so for the time I've been here, they've done nothing but disrespect the people who pay the bill, and that's private industry business owners and the people that work for them that pay for the services that we need in California.
Are you anticipating this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out battle between the two aisles in trying to craft an actual workable budget that Californians can live with and that California business can survive with?
I think what you're going to see is trailer bills, which are going to come through. That's where the meat of this budget's going to happen. I think it's going to be made up by 3 or 4, probably the speaker, the pro tem, and the governor, and maybe the budget chairs, and you're going to see them try to get more money from the federal government, and it's going to be taking care of their friends, and they're going to punish business again in California. That's what I think will happen. I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, there was $22 million to enforce Assembly Bill 5, which it went after independent contractors. Look, independent contractors pay taxes, and this is Uber drivers and the gig economy that they don't like. They want to unionize them. They want to make them employees. So this is a very unfriendly, the terms of this bill that was put together is unfriendly to business. And we know that if you give business security and you give them the opportunity to expand, and that's what grows our economy. So I think you're going to see them try to figure out how they can get more money from the federal government, who's the federal government? It's us. At the end of the day, my daughter, who's 10, is very much in debt because of all the borrowing that we're doing. And they're just printing money back there. And at some point, it's just paper. There has to be something backed by it. And we're going to see inflation at some point, and that's going to be tough we're going to see the rise of interest rates, and that will happen if we continue to just print money at the federal level. We don't have that opportunity here in California to print money. So this is going to be interesting to see. They're going to raise taxes, and they're going to continue to suppress business, which is unfortunate for California because we can grow our way out of this. Just give us some freedom to do it with the business climate.
There were a lot of us, you make reference to AB 5. There were a lot of us that fought that thing tooth and nail, believing that it was going to have a very significant deleterious impact on people that choose to work as jobbers or like to work freelance and so forth. And of course, right now, under this current economy, you're going to see a spike in that. There may be a family where there were two workers and now there's only one. And so the second person, unable to secure full-time employment, is looking to make ends meet by picking up something here and there. And it seems to me as if AB 5 is going to be a major roadblock. Any chance of that thing getting reconsidered and taken off the books?
Well, they've been picking away at just picking their friends, and some of the stuff has they're doing something for musicians, but the Uber driver and the Lyft driver and the DoorDash driver and they did do they're doing carve out. So it's the mother may I system. It's socialism on steroids, where they're not. Look, if you want to choose to be an independent contractor, it doesn't matter what you should do. We should exempt you and allow you to have some freedom. But it's trying to push more people into being employed by employers, and it's just wrong. I mean, there's a lot of us. I was one of them. I choose to want to do my own business, and so AB 5. We have trucks. We're in the trucking business, so AB 5 affects us getting our crops out. We have to now work around that, and that's unfortunate. Some people want to be in business for themselves, and they should be. Is there some abuses? Sure. There's been abuses going on for a long time. But let's go after those bad actors, not the people who are legitimately trying to make a living being an independent contractor. And it's a lot of opportunities for the mother who wants to go out and drive Uber for a couple hours and pick up some extra money to, do whatever they want with it.
And as you point out, we have laws in place that can protect workers if there is an abuse taking place. Just enforce the laws. Senator, I appreciate your time, and I know it's going to be an uphill battle. We appreciate knowing that there are a handful of people in Sacramento like yourself that are willing to do the due diligence and understand what real stewardship means, and to face the tough questions and to try to come up with some workable solutions that will help Californians, all Californians, and not just punish businesses. There's California Senator Brian Dahle representing the 1st Senate District here in Northern California.